What up, world? Welcome to the 818 Nam Sports Talk, Life Talk, Real Life Talk, banter between the two. It's your host with the most, Joe Lake Show. I just wanted to come with y'all on the late night. It's Saturday night here, about 9:30. Wanted to bust you guys out with a couple quick hitters. Some stuff that's been on my mind. Just wanted to kind of pull up with y'all, give you this opportunity to, share what I think with the rest of y'all, and hopefully y'all either agree, disagree, or at least spark some type of banner. Couple things I wanted to talk about tonight. Wanted to talk a little bit about some preseason football. I watched the first half of the Chicago Bears game tonight versus the Tennessee Titans, and I wanted to share my thoughts both on Justin Fields and Malik Willis. Then also wanted to touch on some USA basketball. Got a chance to check them out against Slovenia. I'm actually watching a replay right now, putting together a little bit of a breakdown. But and the one thing I wanted to start off with, though, is some recent news came out of the news wire today, hit us on the X, formerly known as Twitter. Adrian Wojnarowski reported that the 76ers are no longer fielding any calls or any type of negotiations with James Harden and are fully prepared to bring him into camp. And Shams Charania also put out there that James Harden is still steadfast, dug in, got his feet planted, standing on his square, that he intends not to show up to training camp and still wants to be traded. Now, I believe that, personally, the Sixers are kind of doing the best thing that's for them. James Harden, though he has declined and has diminished in his production, I'm not going to necessarily diminish the skills because you never know what dudes are going through. If they really declined, were they dealing with some injury, or were they just not flat out happy with their spot? Coaching, teammates, it's all different type of factors that can go along with why a dude may not be playing the same way he was playing just a year earlier or just 2 years prior. And James Harden was actually playing pretty well in spurts, especially for the 76ers, but with Brooklyn he was playing very well. So I believe he still has some good basketball left in him, and I just don't think that he's putting forth the requisite effort that he needs to put out as a star player. Not necessarily saying he's tanking it, because I would never accuse any basketball player of tanking anything. These guys have pride in their game. They work hard. They love the sport. And some of them, quite frankly, love the money. In order to continue to get the money, you're going to have to produce on the court. So I'm not going to say that he's purposely tanking any games. I just don't think he's happy with the situation. He's well within his rights to voice his opinion, but the 76ers in turn are well within their rights to say, if we're not getting a superstar haul for you because we still believe that you on our team will make us a championship contender, then quite frankly, I don't think that there's anything left for them to discuss. We would love to trade you, James, but they're not giving us Paul George. They're not giving us Kawhi Leonard. So we were like, all right, fine, we'll take some other guys because we believe Maxey is a burgeoning star, and we think that, Joel Embiid is our anchor, and if we can add some good pieces to continue us on that upward trajectory towards a potential championship, then we'll definitely make that trade. Meaning Clippers, hey, we want Terrence Mann. We don't need Zubac. We didn't already front loaded with bigs, with bringing in Paul Reed and signing Mo Bamba. You have Montrezl Harrell. Unfortunately, he is hurt, but he may come back near the end of the season. And then you already have in tow Joel Embiid. So not necessarily needing to take Zubac. So that's not going to be a part of the equation. We want Terrence Mann. We want somebody that's going to be able to be out there defensively that can replace James Harden because we can have Maxey starting at the point, Terrence Mann at the defensive 2, Tobias Harris at the 3, PJ Tucker at the 4, unless he gets traded with James Harden, and Joel Embiid at the 5, and roll out that lineup and go to work. But I personally think that they're doing the right thing. But like, yo, no, we've done this before. We had a previous superstar who actually wanted to be here, and we threw him under the bus, and he actually wanted to be traded at that point, and we decided, no, we're not going to trade you until we get what we want. Oh, you're not going to show up to camp? You're not going to do this? You're not going to do that? Mental health is bothering you? You're not going to be able to perform? No problem. Go ahead and sit at home. When we find the right trade, we'll let you know. So that's basically what James Harden is dealing with at this particular point. He wants to be traded, requested to be traded, is saying that he's going to basically tank their season if he doesn't get traded. And they're like, cool, tank our season if you want to. Oh, there's new rules in the CBA that could potentially block you if you sit out too many games from going into free agency the following year to where they continually have your rights. Things have changed a little bit. So you sitting out and you trying to force your way out of a situation, force a trade, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to get it the next year because they still hold your rights because they're trying to combat the superstars from basically controlling the situations to the point that it handcuffs the teams from being able to make moves requisite to your demand. Hell, you want to be traded? We don't want you on the team if you don't want to be here, but we're not taking pennies on the dollar just so that way you can go where you want, and we're now in a sunken place as an organization. So I agree with the 76ers in this regard. I don't necessarily think Morey is the best GM. I don't necessarily think that they've always been the best franchise, but at the same token, I believe that they're doing the best things for them. James, ball's in your court. Do you want to put out there the good tape? Do you want to go out there and be a professional and ball out? Or do you want to hold your ground and be like, yo, I'm not playing until I get traded to where I want to go? Or at least traded to a better situation for me. I prefer to go to the Clippers. Houston is out of the picture because they have Ime Udoka now. Ime Udoka is like, yo, I want to be able to build up a franchise from the ground up. This situation is perfect for him. Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, Alfred Şengün. You add in Jeff Green, Dylan Brooks, and Fred VanVleet. 3 solid veterans. Say what you will about Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is one of the better perimeter defenders in the game. If he can hone in his shot selection, I think that he can be a serviceable shooter. He's a strong defender, good rebounder, can probably attack the paint better than what he was able to in Memphis. Mind you, you got to think about it, yo. In Memphis, you got Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, and Desmond Bane. Those are your 3 offensive pillars and the guys that are going to be able to put you in the best position possible to score. So you got to get in where you fit in. Now, him with his irrational confidence, which you need to have that to be in the NBA, it put him in situations where his shot selection wasn't always the best. You can have that irrational confidence, but then you got to be able to have the IQ, which I'm not saying he's not basketball smart, but just have the IQ to recognize that this is not the right shot in this situation. This is not the right play in this situation. Let me not attack here. Let me move the basketball. Let me attack the paint and kick it, drive and kick to somebody to be able to, keep the ball moving and keep the offense flowing and not just be one of those guys who becomes a black hole, a sinkhole when it comes to you getting the basketball and you thinking it's your turn to shoot. Now, again, I'm not saying he doesn't have basketball IQ. I think Dylan Brooks is way better than what people are trying to portray him to be. The picture that they've painted, the villain that he's put himself into, perfectly fine. He was a villain in college. But the production that he came out with, especially this year, was, quite frankly, putrid. The dude defensively up there. could potentially be a all defensive team type of player. But offensively was trash, and you poked the wrong damn bear, dog. Like, I get it. You're not supposed, you're not supposed to back down to nobody. You're supposed to put yourself in a position to where you get your teammates up, you get yourself up. But it's the wrong dude to do that to, because he's not going to talk to you. He's just going to try to do it on the court with you, as opposed to going back and forth, with the verbal jabs and verbal sparring. He's not doing all that. He's going to be like, all right, okay, young fella, let me show you what I got. Let me show you how I'm going to do this. And he did. So, but with that being said, back to my original point, Houston don't want James. And the Clippers, they may want you, but they feel that they have a leader on their team right now when they throw in Russell Westbrook. They already have their two superstars when you throw in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They have a young nucleus when you throw in Bones Highland and Terrence Mann. Then you have a solid vet in Norman Powell and Mason Plumlee and Ivica Zubac. Like, they have the team there to be able to still contend. They don't need him. So to have him would be a luxury to help them hopefully compete with a team like Phoenix, with a team like Denver, of course, with the team like the Lakers, which they've already shown that they compete with regular season-wise, being 12-0. So with that being said, man, I honestly believe that they're doing the right thing. I hope James gets to go where he wants. I kind of hope that he in turn decides he's just going to go out there and play and do his thing, because he needs to do his thing, man. So we'll see. But I think it's the right move, and hopefully it works out for him. Now, I wanted to touch in on some football a little bit. First play. Just a quick screen. House call. DJ Moore from Justin Fields. I think this is going to be Justin Fields' year. I honestly think Justin Fields is not only going to put out the production with his legs, but is going to start to match that with his throwing ability. Adding DJ Moore, adding Claypool last year, having Cole commit, giving them the offensive freedom that he hasn't had by the new Matt Eberflus going in there and actually showing his work. I honestly think that Justin Fields is about to show out this year. I'm a 49er fan. I kind of wanted to draft him. I'm going to hold my judgment on Trey Lance at this particular point because the boy hasn't really got an opportunity. But I believe that Justin Fields is about to have a breakout season. He had a pretty good year last year. His team stunk. They've gotten better in the offensive line. They have that hellacious defense, and they've given him weapons. Khalil Herbert is going to be a stud at the running back position. They're going to be really, really, really good. Adding DJ Moore, a guy out of the 4 of the last 5 seasons has gone over 1,000 yards, and look at the team he's been a part of. Yes, he's been the number 1 receiver. Yes, he's been really the only weapon aside from Christian McCaffrey. But now you add him with a guy who can break defenses with his legs, so you have to basically commit more to the box. Even though he's got the requisite talent on the outside, you still have to commit more to the box. Put 7 in the box, maybe sometimes 8 in the box. Then if that happens, man, one-on-one, DJ Moore, one-on-one, are y'all serious? Man, it's about to go down in Chicago. Now, I might just be talking it up. I might just be singing the praises of a guy that I liked really in college, was an Elite 11 stud, beat out Trevor Lawrence in the Elite 11 camp. So, guy who in high school showed promise throwing the football, not just with his legs, but throwing the football. But, whenever you go to Ohio State, you get all the talent in the world at Ohio State. Your skill set seems to be diminished a little bit because they believe that it's pretty much easy pickings with the fact that you got all that requisite talent out there. I mean, they have first-round pick after first-round pick after first-round pick after first-round pick after first-round pick on the offensive end. How could you not put up good numbers? How could you not look good? So I think that, I think it's going to be his year, though, man. I think that man's about to be balling. And when I mean balling, he's going to be balling. Beautiful pass. Balling. Like I said, I'm watching this game, man. Austin Reeves is going to Man, it's going to shut a lot of people up. Now, that's going to be my next topic, trust me. But back to my main